What's up, everyone? Happy Football Friday. Got a great show today. Just me, so going to roll through everything. We got the Lions Ravens mock draft at the end, but a lot of news going on right before free agency hits next week on Wednesday. So, starting off with UFL news here, we had the Brahmas re-sign a speedy running back Anthony McFarland back with San Antonio. Integral part of their offense last year before getting hurt, but probably one of the fastest backs you'll see in the UFL. But yeah, I'm sure Wade Phillips and squad excited to have him back. Couple signings of the Stallions. They re-signed they signed Showboat's quarterback Case Cookus, filling out their quarterback room behind Matt Corral and Alex Magoo there. Battlehawks, they signed Stallions wide receiver Gary Jennings, spent 2024 with Birmingham, was with St. Louis the prior 2 seasons, I believe, in the XFL with the Battlehawks there. So he's back in St. Louis now. A couple trades went down in the NFL. We had the Bears with the second guard / interior offensive lineman trade within a week. They traded the Chiefs a 2026 fourth round pick for offensive lineman Joe Thuney. Now he is in his 30s now, but still a bunch of trade left, I believe, anyways, for Joe Thuney, solidifying him and Jonah Jackson into the starting guard spots in Chicago there under new head coach Ben Johnson. Of course, Caleb Williams beat up last year, most sacked quarterback in the league, and it seems like the Bears are well on their way to solidifying the protection up front there, potentially getting a center and tackle this offseason more as well. Like the trade, though, Chiefs getting a solid value, I thought, for a guy in his 30s and that has played for quite a while and is a good one. Really solid player in Joe Thuney. Kingsley Suamataia, the second rounder from last year from BYU, expected to try to fill the guard spot left by Thuney, opposite of Trey Smith there, who they franchise tagged, and they'll have to figure out the tackle position, left tackle spot still. The second trade that we had was wide receiver Christian Kirk going to the Texans. So back-to-back seasons, the Texans trading for a wide receiver, trading for Stephon Diggs last year, and now for Christian Kirk this year. Diggs a free agent. Kirk was really solid early in his Jags tenure, not so great last year, and then, of course, ended up on IR. But 2026 7th round selection, a lot less of compensation going away from Houston than the Diggs trade, but Jacksonville recoups something for a player that they were originally going to release anyways, which was the initial report was that they did release him, but instead intra-divisional trade here, and Texans getting Christian Kirk looking to burn the Jags twice a year next season. General news here, the Steelers apparently leaning toward re-signing Justin Fields over Russell Wilson. I still think Russell Wilson gives them the best chance to win. Justin Fields developed a ton in his 6 starts last year, but I still think he needs more. Obviously, the team needs more around him as well, whoever is the quarterback. They need more from the wide receivers. They need to add to that position to help George Pickens out. And, of course, Pat Freiermuth at the tight end spot as well. Not re-signing Najee Harris. Likely Jaylen Warren steps into the starting running back role. Seahawks and the Bengals giving their stars permission to seek a trade. Seahawks wide receiver DK Metcalf, Bengals defensive end Trey Hendrickson. Metcalf's an interesting one. Seahawks fans wanting a pretty penny for DK Metcalf. But the fact of the matter is that he hasn't been productive, wasn't last year, under 66 receiving yards per game. He is only 27 or 28 years old. But again, the injuries and the lack of production and the need for a new contract kind of devalues him in terms of a trade. So you got to kind of temper your expectations, Seahawks fans, and our guy John Babington. I wish he was speaking on that, but yeah, DK Metcalf likely going to get traded after they release Tyler Lockett as well. Bengals defensive end Trey Hendrickson, he could fetch a pretty penny. Also looking for a new contract, but he is at a premium position now. Wide receiver is sort of becoming that, but we saw what happened in the Super Bowl. The Eagles, dominant pass rush. It's what you need essentially to win a Super Bowl. And Trey Hendrickson led the league in sacks this year, 17 and a half, 3.5 more than Myles Garrett. Finished second to Pat Surtain in the Defensive Player of the Year voting. I think he should have won it. But yeah, Hendrickson likely out of Cincinnati. Couple restructures, teams getting cap compliant and making room before free agency starts. The Cowboys restructured quarterback Dak Prescott's deal, saving $36.6 million on the cap. They have saved over $50 million now on the 2025 cap with the restructures of Prescott and CeeDee Lamb last week. The Browns, I thought it was kind of a surprising move. They restructured quarterback Deshaun Watson, $35.8 million saved on the 25 cap. I did not think they would make that move because of the potential to get out of Deshaun Watson's deal without a massive dead cap hit. Now, let's look at Watson's deal here. Hopefully, Spot Track has the updated numbers. With the restructured now, they added a couple more void years. So his cap hit in 2025 per Spot Track is 36.9 million and 172 million dead cap hit. So $135 million dead cap hit next year. 81.6 million is his cap hit projected. They can get out. They really can't get out of it. They can't. I mean, he's got to be let go in unrestricted free agency 2027. $53.7 million dead cap hit. So, and then after that, they will still be paying him a little bit more. 17.8 million, 2028, 8.9 million, 2029. So, yeah, it's or that's the cap numbers there. So the proration on the cap hits, it's tough for the Browns. They're trying to get out of a bad deal, and I don't know if it's really going to work there for Cleveland. But anyways, 35.8 million saved for the Deshaun Watson restructure. Steelers restructuring linebacker Cole Holcomb's deal, $4 million saved for Pittsburgh there. Couple retirements. Bengals defensive end Sam Hubbard retiring, injured midseason, never came back. 2018 third round selection, number 77 overall. Played with the Bengals his entire career, 2018 to 2024. 104 career games, 88 of those starts, 398 career tackles, 236 solos, 38.5 sacks, 55 tackles for loss, 98 QB hits, 6 forced fumbles, 1 fumble recovery, and a touchdown, 1 interception, 16 passes defense, 1 safety, and the craziest way to go out, even though he got injured in the game, 2-yard receiving touchdown against the Texans in his last play of his career. In the playoffs, started all 7 of the games he played, 29 tackles, 17 of those solos, 4 sacks, 6 tackles for loss, 7 QB hits, 1 forced fumble, 2 fumble recoveries, 1 touchdown, and a pass defense. Saves $9.5 million for Cincinnati with his retirement. Excellent Bengal, Sam Hubbard. Not going to get a ton of accolades otherwise, but Cincinnati fans cherishing Hubbard's career there for them. And another big retirement, Jaguar center Mitch Morse, the 2015 second-round pick, number 49 overall, the Kansas City Chiefs. Play with the Chiefs 15-18, the Bills 19-23, and the Jags this past year in 2024. One-time Pro Bowl selection, 143 games, started all of them. Same thing can be said with the playoffs, started all 13 of the games he played in, and integral part of the Bills' success and rejuvenation in the early 2020s here, and was with the Alex Smith, Andy Reid Chiefs early in his career there. But yeah, Mitch Morse, a good one nonetheless. Draft visits to mention: the Browns picking number 2 overall. They hosted Penn State edge rusher Abdul Carter, Colorado quarterback Shedeur Sanders, and Colorado wide receiver corner Travis Hunter. And the Steelers hosting a couple guys top 30 visits: Louisville quarterback Tyler Shuff, Ole Miss defensive tackle J.J. Pegues, and West Virginia offensive lineman Wyatt Millum. So potentially another West Virginia lineman joining Zach Frazier there in Pittsburgh. Releases. So this has become a big theme here this past week. The Saints, they released running back Jamal Williams. Raiders releasing quarterback Gardner Minshew. Seahawks released wide receiver Tyler Lockett. I mentioned earlier, $17 million saved on the cap. Chargers, big time, releasing defensive end Joey Bosa, $25.36 million saved on their cap. 49ers going to release defensive tackle Javon Hargrave once free agency starts. Bills released punter Sam Martin. Colts released defensive tackle Raekwon Davis. Jaguars releasing a couple players, tight end Evan Ingram, $5.98 million savings for them, and wide receiver Devin Duvernay, excellent kick returner, available there. The Commanders releasing defensive tackle Jonathan Allen after trying to trade him, and the same can be said for the Titans, who just released pass rusher Harold Landry III after trying to trade him as well. Big salaries, teams needing the cap space, and so the veteran pass rush market is just loaded now. Joey Bosa, Harold Landry, Jonathan Allen, Khalil Mack, Javon Hargrave. It's wild, the amount of guys available. And then you got the younger guys like Josh Sweat and Milton Williams as well, just 26, around 26 years old for both of those guys. So, yeah, it's going to be an interesting one for sure in the veteran pass rush market, as well as, the draft. The draft, there's a ton of guys on defense that a lot of people like. Extensions. The Raiders, they signed defensive end Max Crosby, 3 years, $106.5 million, $91.5 million guaranteed. Yeah, it's wild. I had a thought today. I liken Max Crosby to a younger version of Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett wants a trade out of Cleveland, but earlier in his career, just a couple years ago, Myles Garrett said, Cleveland's where I want to be. Cleveland's where I want to win. I want to make Cleveland into a winner. It seems like that's the same thing Max Crosby is doing in Vegas. This is his 3rd contract, I believe. And as a former 4th-round pick, not like Myles Garrett, number 1 overall pick, but, he's a couple years younger than Myles Garrett, and it seems like he wants to build this thing in Vegas into a winner with new head coach Pete Carroll there now. So we will see. We'll see if anything changes the next 3 years, but Max Crosby going nowhere, staying in Las Vegas for the foreseeable future on a massive deal, highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history, around 31 million, 32 and change. Or no, 30. I cannot do math right now. Anyways, it's all good. 35.5. There you go. 35.5 million per season next 3 years. Bills, they signed linebacker Terrell Bernard to a 4-year, $50 million extension, $25.2 million guaranteed there. And excellent deal for a 2022 draft pick getting extended. Bills trying to lock up some of the younger stars, Khalil Shakir and now Terrell Bernard, staying in Buffalo for the long haul there. And the Vikings, Jimmy's Vikings, they signed safety Theo Jackson to a 2-year, $12.615 million extension. Excellent deal, I thought, for Theo Jackson, backup safety, going to be leaned on more as the team decides on whether they want to re-sign Cam Bynum. And also, you have Harrison Smith, I believe, in his age 33 season, 34, somewhere around there, um, having to kind of take a step back in terms of snaps and whatnot. Restricted free agency news. Just one thing to note: the Panthers, they tendered center Caden Mays at the original round tender level, sixth round selection. Originally $3.263 million value there for Caden Mays. Started 8 games last season for Carolina, and they like him potentially enough to let Austin Corbett walk in free agency. We will see. Re-signings, bunch of guys getting paid by their teams. The biggest one, go Birds. Eagles, they signed linebacker Zach Bond to a 3-year, $51 million deal. $34 million guaranteed for Zach Bond, one of the highest paid the highest paid inside linebacker now, one of the highest paid linebackers, period, in the league, including outside linebacker, edge rushers there. Excellent deal for Howie Roseman. It was a priority to get Zach Bond back in the middle of this defense for Vic Fangio going into year 2 under the system. And he had an incredible year switching from edge to inside linebacker, and ended up in the Defensive Player of the Year voting. Finalist there, first team All Pro, Pro Bowler, and whatnot. And Zach Bond back in Philadelphia to man the middle of Vic Fangio's defense there. The Lions, they signed linebacker Derek Barnes to a 3-year, $25.5 million deal, $16 million fully guaranteed there for Derek Barnes. Pretty solid deal for a player that was injured. Didn't play a ton this year, but the Lions liked what they saw before that, and a guy that was going to reach free agency now back in Detroit, and going to be a pivotal part of new defensive coordinator Kelvin Shepard's defense there. Packers, they re-signed kicker Brandon McManus, 3 years, $15.3 million deal, $5 million guaranteed for the Green Bay kicker there. Came in mid-season and was really a godsend for Green Bay. Missed a couple kicks, but other than that, I think McManus one of the better kickers in the league. Green Bay recognizing that and rewarding him as such. The Rams, they signed wide receiver Tutu Atwell to a 1-year, $10 million fully guaranteed deal there. The news of a potential Cooper Kupp trade coming. Maybe the Rams wanted to get Tutu Atwell back in the room there, potentially upgrading his snap count and whatnot. So Tutu Atwell back in the mix with Puka Nacua. Demarcus Robinson still free agent, as is Tyler Johnson. They still have Xavier Smith, Jordan Whittington in the room. But they're going to need someone to become that wide receiver 2 for Puka Nacua coming up. And maybe it is the former second round pick in 2021, Tutu Atwell. The Commanders re-signing the heart and soul of their defense. Linebacker Bobby Wagner back in Washington, 1 year, $9.5 million deal, $8 million guaranteed there for Wagner. Excellent deal on both sides. I think it was paramount for Dan Quinn to get the leader of their defense and their team really back in the fold. And Bobby Wagner returns for 1 more year in Washington. Texans, they signed running back Dario Gumbawale to a 1-year, $2 million deal there. Texans getting one of their depth pieces back and one of the better kick returners in the league, and the best backup kicker in the league as well. Dario Gumbawale can do kickoffs and kick extra points. He has shown in his career. And the Commanders, they re-signed their kicker, Zane Gonzalez. I was kind of shocked that they did not re-sign Austin Seibert. Zane Gonzalez is the guy they signed first. So we will see where Austin Seibert situation goes, but Gonzalez, the guy Washington prioritizing in the free agent kicker market in terms of their own guys there. Austin Seibert still available in free agency. Couple signings, teams getting started early on free agency. The Bears, they signed Dolphins tight end Durham Smythe to a 1-year deal, the longest tenured Dolphin released last week, landing with his former wide receivers coach in Miami, Ben Johnson there. in Chicago. So Smythe adding to the tight end room with Cole Kmet there. And the Raiders making the first splashier deal of free agency. They signed Bengals guard Alex Kappa to a 2-year, $11.2 million deal. $5.5 million fully guaranteed for Kappa. I thought that was a nice deal for both sides. Vegas getting a guy that has started a bunch of games and can solidify, hopefully for them, inside there. They already have their guard Jackson Powers Johnson, Dylan Parham there, but Alex Kappa, a veteran, they're gonna maybe compete with Dylan Parham for the right guard job there. Kappa also, I believe, can play center, but they had their guy Andre James. Just again solidifying they needed interior depth there with Cody Whitehair, Jordan Meredith being and Andrews Pete being free agents, but yeah, nonetheless, I think Alex Kappa solid signing for Pete Carroll and the Raiders there. All right, that is all the news I'm seeing. Looks like one more thing. Will Johnson, the Michigan corner, not going to participate in the March 21st Michigan Pro Day. Minor hamstring injury for him. Will be healthy by the draft, but it brings in question marks. Will Johnson already was out a ton this year. I believe it was a shoulder injury, hand, something like that, upper body. And now he has the hamstring lower body injury, and it brings into question it's what are we getting in this guy health wise? Combine rechecks will be a big deal when they come in March. And I think they're in April, actually early April. But yeah, he will definitely be a guy teams will want to check up on in whenever those combine rechecks are. All right, let's get to the mock draft time. Lions and Ravens here. So we got this thing loaded up. Pro Football Network. Appreciate y'all for hosting this thing. Let's go here. Titans going Cam Ward number 1. Browns, they're going Ashton Genty at 2. What a thing here. Will Campbell of the Giants at 3. We're starting off wild. Abdul Carter, the Patriots at 4. Armand Membu, the Jags at 5. Shador Sanders for the Raiders at 6. Jets going Mason Graham. Panthers getting Will Johnson at 8. There you go. Just mentioned him. Tetsuroa McMillan for the Saints at 9. Bears going Shamar Stewart. Jalen Walker to the 49ers. Cowboys going Tyler Booker. Kelvin Banks Jr. for the Dolphins. Tyler Warren for the Colts. Travis Hunter, that's not going to happen to the Falcons. Matthew Golden to the Cards at 16. Malachi Starks, Bills coming up 30, 56, and 179 to Cincinnati to come up to get Malachi Starks here. Jahad Campbell for the Seahawks. Bucks going James Pierce. And with Michael Williams being on the board here, I want to come up. I want to come up with Detroit. We have to. I know we only have 2 picks here, right? But by the way, I forgot to mention here the picks we have. Ravens 27, 59, and 91. Lions have 28 and 60. Third round selection going to Tampa in the Carlton Davis trade. I know we only have 2 picks, right? But I think with Aiden Hutchinson coming back from injury, they need badly someone opposite of Hutch. So I am okay. We're moving up 8 picks. We looks like we get a compensatory selection. I'm trading a second next year and 133. A second and a 4 to come up. Wasn't enough here. So let's try again. Let's try again. Denver's being a little stingy. So 8 picks. I really don't want to give 60 away. But how about 101 and all right, we had to give up our compensatory third rounder, but we get a sixth rounder back in 210. We give a second rounder next year to move up 8 spots. I think it's much worth it to get a guy like Michael Williams here. Chiefs now want to come up, give us a second round pick to move up 11 spots. Cardinals throwing out the kitchen sink there. But no, we moved up for a reason. We're going to go Michael Williams. I think it has to, with the value where he is, 14th on the PFN board. I just think edge is the number one need for Detroit, and that's what I have. So let's go Michael Williams to the Lions. Derek Harmon for the Steelers. Siobhan Revel, Chargers there. Emeka Egbuka for the Packers. All right. Jade Barron for the Vikes. Texans going Nick Scorton. Luther Burden. Okay. Oh, okay. Well, that's who I wanted to pick anyways. Josh Simmons, Nick Eamon for the Broncos, Cameron Williams for the Commanders, Colson Loveland, Bengals, Gray Chiefs, Swollen for the Eagles, Jackson Dart for the Browns, Jalen Milrow to the Giants, Xavier Watts for the Titans, Benjamin Morrison to the Jags, Trey Harris for the Raiders, Ariante Ursary for the Patriots, Caleb Johnson to the Bears, Donovan Ezruaku for the Saints, Josh Connerly to the Bears, Marcus Embo to the Jets, Donovan Jackson, Lions, Dolphins coming up 5 picks, 48, 115. Trey Amos to the Cowboys, Jaden Higgins for the Colts, Mike Green going to the Falcons, Wyatt Millum to the Cards, 49ers going Maxwell Hairston, Azariah Thomas for the Bengals, Harold Fannin to the Seahawks, Omarion Hampton for the Broncos, Steelers going Elike O'Manor, Denzel Burke for the Bucks. We got the Packers going JT Tuimoloau. Jack Sawyer to the Chargers. Bengals going Tez Johnson. Panthers getting Princely Uman Mielen. Isaiah Bond to the Texans. And we are back up with the Ravens here. Don't like that. It's too far. And 30 spots again, too far for me. So with Baltimore, I liked the Josh Simmons pick. We needed a tackle. And the next need I have, because we needed a tackle because Ronnie Stanley. The next need I have for Baltimore is guard. And we can do it. We have a couple guys here. Jonas Avainea, I like as a guard, despite being, a little bit bigger. But Tate Ratledge, my Georgia boy, is also here. But we also have these guys, Tyleek Williams, Kenneth Grant. So I don't have interior D-line as a need for either of the two squads here. I would not be shocked if they took these guys, but I like taking, if you have a need and it fits up with the board, I am going to go with Jonas Avainea here, Baltimore. And we're back on with the Lions. So this would be an interesting one. So we could get a third round pick back, which we lost our second rounder last year. We'd have to give up a fourth. So we'd have 2/3 instead of a second. We could get a fourth round pick, number 114, and to move back 18 spots. I don't know. Detroit, I have corner and guard. And as the next two needs, and it fits up here with, again, Tate Ratledge. We have Darian Porter, who my guy Nick really loves. I think I want to go with the corner here, because Detroit really was rough at corner last year. Especially we saw that in the playoffs. So I'm going to go Darian Porter here for Detroit. Mason Taylor for the Commanders. Landon Jackson goes to Buffalo. Chiefs going Xavier Restrepo. We picked that, I believe. Travion Henderson for the Eagles. All right. Don't like that. Tyleik Williams to the Giants. Carson Schlesinger for the Chiefs. Browns going Kenneth Grant. Raiders going Emory Jones. Shamar Turner for the Patriots. Andrew Makuba for the Jags. Saints going Tate Ratledge. Bears getting Lathan Ransom. Quinton Judkins to the Raiders. Panthers getting Terrence Ferguson. 49ers, they're picking Kevin Winston Jr. Jalen Royals for the Cowboys. Patriots going Jalen Noel. Kyle Kennard for the Cardinals. Josiah Stewart goes to Washington. Colts getting Holland Pierce. Bengals picking Dylan Fairchild. Omar Norman Lott for the Seahawks. Jared Wilson to the Steelers. Torrey Horton for the Bucks. Barrett Carter for the Broncos. Deion Walker for the Chargers. Zy Alexander to the Packers. Chris Paul Jr. for the Jags. Cam Skattebo for the Texans. Love that. TJ Sanders for the Rams. And our final pick here, Cowboys. We are not moving down that far, even though it is for a third-round pick. That one's interesting. Four slots to move up from a 6 to a 4, and it's Chicago's 4. What does the board look like though? Here, I'm definitely considering that. I have corner, wide receiver, and QB2. So we do have some wide receivers here. Dorian Strong looks like the next corner. Kyron Lacey, bigger guy, 6'2", 213. So is Savion Williams, 6'3", 222. And, I would not be opposed to either of those selections. Can we get those guys moving down 4 spots? You look at Rashad Bateman, 6 foot. Zay Flowers, smaller, 5'9". Devontae Walker, 6'1". So those are the guys that are signed, and they have Deontay Johnson on the roster. He's not going to end up there, 5'10". But Nelson Aguilar, Tylan Wallace, Deontay Hardy, Steven Sims, all free agents right now. Tylan Wallace, the biggest guy they have, I believe. Or no, he's only 5'11". I thought he was a bigger guy. But yeah, so they don't really have a ton of size. And so that's why I would be okay with going with one of the other guys, the Kyron Lacey or Savion Williams. Will we be able to get one? Or Jack Besh is awesome, 6'1", 214, not the biggest, but I'm okay with doing this. I think moving down 4 spots to move from a 6 to a 4 next year is perfectly fine. And the fact that it's Chicago's 4, we don't know what Chicago's going to be. I like it. Chiefs coming up for Jared Ivey. Jets get Kyron Lacey. Saints go Will Howard. Wow. Browns going Savion Williams. So we didn't get either guy. But it's okay. It is okay. No trade offers available here. So we are picking. And it's okay. You know why? Because we have a guy, Jack Besh. I don't really like Dorian Strong, so I think I'm going to go with Jack Besh here. It would be my guy. I really love him. Great story and a jump ball fiend. Says it's like a 70, 30, 80, 20 when he goes up for the ball. So I'm going Jack Besh here for Baltimore. Purple to purple. Makes sense. Ashton Gelati for the Eagles. Vikings going Sebastian Castro. Dolphins, Broncos coming up for Gunnar Helm, 101, 199. Joshua Farmer to the Niners. Quincy Riley to the Rams. And the Dolphins going Alfred Collins to finish up the 3-round mock drafts. Here's we got the Ravens moving. We did not move anywhere for the Josh Simmons pick. But yeah, Ravens going Josh Simmons. Jonas Savaiinea, Jack Besh, and they get 2024 or 2026 fourth rounder. The Lions we traded up to get Michael Williams, traded a second rounder next year and a compensatory third round selection this year to the Broncos to move up 8 spots. Picked up a sixth rounder this year. And then with our second pick in the Lions, we went with corner, went with Darian Porter there to shore up the secondary. Pretty solid draft, I thought, for both sides. I think it's paramount for Baltimore to get to get better up front on the interior offensive line, and they need to get a tackle if Ronnie Stanley leaves. And for the Lions, I mean, moving up to get an edge rusher to pair with Aiden Hutchinson is, I think, paramount, and to shore up the secondary as well with Darian Porter was excellent value. All right, that is the show for today. Don't forget next week. Unsure of show time yet. We're thinking about somewhere between 7 and 10 p.m. Eastern. Not sure exactly yet. We'll figure it out on Monday. But next week, we'll be back doing our mock draft series, Packers and Vikings. On Friday, we got the the Ravens and Texans on Monday. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media at FAA Podcast on Instagram and X, FAA_bets on X as well. FAApodcast.com is our website. You check us out here on YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram, as well as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and TikTok at FAA.podcast. And we will see y'all back on Monday.